Alien.
Ya, true, díselo. Presione los controles, presione los controles. Harto.
Ya, harto de matar patos. Presume su mierda pero no es para tanto. Yo hago trap hardcore, papi no canto. Con lo que tuviste yo limpio mis zapatos, pato. Tanto trap, ¿dónde están? No sé dónde están. Me preguntan si canto, nah. Patada en la cara, like canto, nah. Hey, harto de matar patos. Presume su mierda pero no es para tanto. Yo hago trap hardcore, papi no canto. Con lo que tuviste yo limpio mis zapatos, pato. Tanto trap, ¿dónde están? No sé dónde están. Me preguntan si canto, nah. Patada en la cara, like canto, nah. Hey, patada en la cara, like canto, nah. Yo estoy con lo mío, papi, ¿dónde más? Tú andas muy crecido, papi, ¿dónde vas? No venga judío, casa de alemán. Pa' ti difícil, pa' mí tan fácil. Un hit con DC y otro con Brasil. Porque así trabaja junto a mi team. Cabeza fría, corte Materazzi. Yipi, yipi, ya, yipi, yipi, ya. Toda tu gang, solo títeres. Pegados a uno por interés. Yo con los reales, mis tigres. La facha demuestra la nitidez. Parecemos modelos de Pinterest. Que me conoce, que ni sé qué. Papi, respétate en límites. ¿Dónde están? No sé tú. Yo alejado del revolú. Estoy parchado con toda mi crew, jugando FIFA y ganando true. ¿Dónde está? No sé tú. Yo alejado del revolú. Estoy parchado con toda mi crew, jugando FIFA y ganando true. En la calle se mueven los Philly. Walter White, controlo la Kimi. Tú pides los deseos, que yo soy el dueño de la rosa y la verde flow Timmy. Me voy a pegar sin un remix. Quiero salir en el show de Jimmy, con ropa ancha como Billy, parchándome una retro mini. Tanto de matar patos, presume su mierda pero no es para tanto. Yo hago trap hardcore, papi no canto. Con lo que tuviste yo limpio mis zapatos, pato. Tanto trap, ¿dónde están? No sé dónde están. Me preguntan si canto, nah. Patada en la cara, like canto, nah. Harto de matar patos, presume su mierda pero no es para tanto. Yo hago trap hardcore, papi no canto. Con lo que tuviste yo limpio mis zapatos, pato. Tanto trap, ¿dónde están? No sé dónde están. Me preguntan si canto, nah. Patada en la cara, like canto, nah. Hey.
Los controles, presi, manejando la Kimi. Estamos fabricando otros. Yeah.
Wow. Lo único que he cambiado en mí es que me siento tan real, estoy tan exclusivo. Tramposo trampa, trap explosivo. El spray con la codeína. Esa flaquita me sigue desde que tenía 16. Latino europeo es mi sangre, hoy desperté very hungry. Como te explico, tengo mucha hambre en este género en lit. Estoy pegándote hit de Barcelona a París, de Canadá para ti. Nada me para, si Dios me ampara, toda mi familia está bien aquí, ey. Son de Carolina, la gata más fina, Milano en Canarias, ragazos de pira. No ronca conmigo, te tengo en la mira, tu fecha de vencimiento se expira. ¿Por qué? Andamos caliente, corte de Cali, así son las cosas aquí. Del mundo soy VIP, del mundo soy VIP. En Canadá con mi estilo sureño, de palabra cumpliendo todos mis sueños. Pies en el suelo, mirada para el cielo, camino piola prendiendo los leños. Todos los peños me temo y los saco, desde pequeño me amo los pacos. Diseños buenos, vuelvo y los remato, enseño si quiero transcribo relatos. Y el lato para relajar, solo para no estar mal, para regalar, mejor va lejos llegar. Hey, hey, otra nota astral, hasta que me pueda pegar, solo que me voy a buscar, no confío en nadie, solo family. Estoy con mi gang, estoy con mi game, escribimos, grabamos, mezclamos, sí, lo hacemos everyday, jugamos sin miedo, nadie con la pera, no hay delay, no hay delay. Los contratos no le como dijera, se dicta ley, se dicta mi ley. Sunny shit.
Escribo con Big, deposito mi alcancía y tip. Las ganas así para sentir, el fondo de la botella está deep. La Johnny Depp, Capitán Morgan de agua salada y loca. Localizaciones se borran, me pegan los mejores bombones. La Johnny sin rompiéndole telones. Realidad supera la ficción, no es reality show, yo reality lo vivido. A lo cómodo 3000, por cómo afectamos su visión. Boda libanesa por tantos tiros, por tantos palos que apilo. El pilar de pillo, por tanto los amos del filo. Fácil pillamos jeroglifos.
No fake, no bra, aquí los flows son original. Si me meto al estudio salgo con un hit, eso ya es normal. Ya, me mantengo shining en la tempestad. Seguro es por el BS. La cambio de pose, la pongo en modo play. Vuelan los billetes de colores. Sueño con ver el cielo, decir que lo logré. Sonar portada en la orbit. Oh yeah. No fake, no bra, aquí los flows son original. Si me meto al estudio salgo con un hit, eso ya es normal. Tu Jesse.
No me pregunten, sigo en lo mismo. Voy sin capucha, es mi cinismo. Dímelo, Cristo, si le doy piso. Tú me conoces, tú ya me has visto. El niño quiso ser perro fino. Vienen los puercos, no me persino. Lo que cocino es pa' reales, va pa' carnales que me proteja. La Super 30, una bereta que me vigile. No se casquille quién es el dealer. Yo traigo algo con lo que valgo. Esta es mi alma, ¿qué es lo que trama? La vida es corta, la mente es loca. El chile no importa si la factura sale muy cara. Si la tortura nunca se para. Aquí sin nada tenemos todo. Unos en piso, otros en lodo. Plata con oro, se vuelve polvo. Lo que yo quiero es solo otro sorbo. Para el estorbo no traigo nada. Para mis hombros pongo la espalda. En tu manada faltan agallas. En las acciones sobran palabras. Tiran y tiran, dime tú quién eres. ¿Cuál es tu clica? ¿De dónde vienes? Dime qué quieres. ¿Cuál es el miedo? Pinta maníaca, sigo de cerdo. Si me enredo entre las espinas, tras de barrotes viven malillas. Barrio caliente, la muerte es fría. Lo que decían, si ando con perros. Si no hay dinero, soy carroñero. Trago pa'l suelo por mis guerreros. Se acaba el juego, allá nos vemos. Viene la muerte, yo no le temo. Si estoy enfermo, así me quedo. Para ser perro, señas con dedos. Voy con el cane, con un tequila. Esta Buster firme como sus líneas. Con mi terror, cholos tumbados, la movie de horror. Junto con Te me pegó un loquerón. Ese mi as de traite ese patrón. En tierra caliente ya está la misión. Al de confianza le suelto el pacón. No se me agüite si se da el topón. Desde las calles la regla se rompe. El diablo está firme y espera la orden. Ese mi guante de ser más buscado. Por los problemas que hubo en el pasado. Para envidiosos aquí no hay cupo. Para enemigos en su barrio escupo. Gallo jugado listo para el trompo. Letras maníacas con los locos. Caigan al barrio, perro no la cree. Aquí en el Jersey viene el 7-3. Tiro mi clica, firme la CP. De por vida, perro, somos 7-3. Somos 7-3.
Yeah, at the end we'll catch up with you. You know what I'm saying, is it? We all die at the end, motherfucker. Yeah, even if you take me out right now, one of my motherfuckers gonna take you out. And then you take him and back and forth and shit, and it don't stop, you know what I'm saying? Body rock, drop and shit, you know what I mean?
Esta vez tocó caer, pero te aseguro que esa mierda no logrará vencerme. Voy de cacería, quieren detenerme. No ocupo de nadie, puto, tú ocupas de suerte. Los que se burlaron, quiera Dios no los toquemos, pero cruel es el destino, sé que pronto los torcemos. No se cuiden las espaldas, perros, yo llego de frente. A vergazo limpio, no me escondo tras un cohete. Pero sabes, me dan risa. Piensan que por la loquera yo no me di tinta. Putos traicioneros me di cuenta que son finta. Yo de T por 8 y solo rasguños en la cara me pintan. Vergazo tras vergazo da la vida. No confiar en nadie, ya mi madre me decía. Ahora entiendo más perfecto que nadie. Quien dice que te quiere mañana te echa a la calle. See you later, motherfucker. Sin hablar de más, despertaron mi espíritu pirata. Neta, no busco venganza, solo busco cerrar putos hocicos de esos perros que me cansan.
Y un saludo a todos los que creyeron verme la cara de pendejo. Me la deben, perro. Luego vengo por el cambio. Que yo no se lo dejo al karma ni a la vida. Un ángel de la muerte desde lejos que me cuida. Y aunque sé que soy una puta mierda, esta mierda avanza y avanza. Que no me duele perder gente culera y traicionera. Que lo hago por los míos, por mi barrio, por mi raza. Él es en la casa. Psycho locos, perro. Ya saben que tranza. A la verga, gente falsa.
This is the end. Si lo pierdo, ni modo, porque yo soy de los hombres que cuando pierdo no lloro. ¡Viva México!
Somos esos
Tres vatos locos que están repletos de carnalismo, tratando de sobrevivir en una zona de guerra. Pero lo que ahora sé, bro, es que necesito a mi familia.
Todo lo que yo he aprendido desde el sábado me rico, es puro esfuerzo constante.
Hey, Shalom Rasa, what's going on? You understand? Another Monday night, la pura neta, la voz de la raza. You understand? Con mis carnales, el oficial en 500 Malakma, who will be here soon. Suddenly 50, so wap ban shamaywan. You understand? In one moment, we're about to go live on Instagram as well. Hey, Shalom Rasa, we're on Instagram as well. You understand? Hey, so hop on the Instagram live on la pura neta. You know, I'm gonna send you.
Shalom, Yahweh Shem Shabbat. Shalom, familia, ¿qué es lo que?
Okay. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna send you an invite. Check your DMs on Instagram. Hop on the live. I'm about to send one to Malakma as well. You understand? We have some interest topic tonight. Arte de batalla.
Hey, Shalom, Akim, Lord in Christ.
Hey, Shalom, Lord in Christ.
Shalom, Lord in Christ.
See y'all on the Instagram live?
Yeah, the live is on. I'll send you the invites. So what?
I'm already joined.
Okay, Khan, give me a second. I'm gonna set up, man. Just man. Trying to get this new system worked in, man. And
invite. So what? Yeah, so what? Accept the invite. We're live on YouTube. You pick la pura neta podcast. You understand? Give me 1 second. All right, chinga tu madre.
Oh, snaps. What happened to Brackyella?
Hey, little technical difficulties. I have to put in my headphones for the Instagram.
We got people already hating, knock, or what's going down?
Hey, yeah, Mark Zuckerberg is already hating on us.
Shalom.
No sweat.
Instagram.
Oh, dang.
You want to turn down the volume on your computer? Or is it Malakma?
Hey, how do I turn off this audio here? I could just hear it through Facebook. All right, I think I see it. All right.
Okay, turn down the audio on your phone.
Oh, it still sounds. Yeah, I'm trying to mute it all the way so I could just focus on one platform.
We can't hear you on Instagram anymore.
Okay.
You know, let's see who's gonna join up then. Instagram. Malakma. Invite. Let's get it. Let's see. Is Instagram a better platform than TikTok? Okay, so WAP, you may want to fix the audio on your computer. Your reverb is coming from you. No sweat, out of one. We can't hear you on Instagram, so what? Damn right. Yeah, you don't want to mute yourself on the stream here. You just want to turn down the sound, right? Because you want to hear me on both platforms, on the YouTube, then on the Facebook, and on the Instagram. If anything, you could just turn down the sound on your computer. It should still be able to hear you. Instead, we got up in the place.
I mean, I have no sound coming out of the computer because I have my headphones. So I'm not, I mean,
Okay.
you're probably hearing the Instagram.
Yeah, probably turn down the sound on your phone, you know. You're still going to be able to hear it. Just don't mute yourself.
Right.
I think it sounds too loud. Okay, what you want to do, Sawab? You want to plug in your headphones to your phone and turn down the volume on your computer. That would be more for that.
I mean, I have no sound coming out of the computer. It's just strictly here and out of my phone. There's two only places that sound is coming out of right now.
What you say?
I have sound coming through my headphones, so everything you're saying is coming through here and through my phone, through Instagram on my phone.
No, we're too out right now. We're too out. I just need to turn down my other phone because I hear both on StreamYard and my headpiece. But no sweat. Hey, we're gonna start out the show. All right, we're waiting for Malakma to get situated, but we're gonna start out. You understand? This is La Pura Neta todos los lunes a las 9 de la noche. You understand? Every Monday night, 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You understand? La Pura Neta. You understand? Que lo que mi hermano Dominicano is back. You understand? For another night on La Pura Neta. A few interesting topics. So what y'all think we should start with? Because hey, it's been a hot weekend, you know. We had you know, carnales hating on carnales. You understand? We had at the same time, you know, brotherhood between like Judah and Issachar, even though there was a little rivalry, you know, no blood was shed. You understand? It is just Israel. You already know we're competitive people. You know, it is what it is. But what should we start with? Should we speak about the tank versus King? You know, should we speak about Davis versus Garcia? What do you think? What y'all think?
I think the boxing match will be nice because, you know what I'm saying, it'll show that brotherhood that we have despite, you know what I'm saying, the fighting that goes on within our tribes, you know what I'm saying? But,
yeah, I mean,
I'll let it be up to y'all too.
I mean, we're waiting for Malakma right now, right? So, you know, we're trying to figure it out. What should we talk about first? But hey, if it's the fight we're gonna talk about, listen, you know, despite the outcome of the fight, at the end of the day, they were side by side, taking pictures, smiling, exchanging phone numbers. You know, Garcia was like, "Hey, Davis is a good fighter. You understand? Yada yada yada. You know, whatever the case is. But you know, yes, we're competitive people. Yes, some of us pick sides. You understand? But it wasn't to the point where we could say it was tribal, where it was like black versus brown. You understand? It's a boxing fight. It's a boxing. You know, it's a fight. Listen, Dupree, can we hear you, Tawab, on we hear you, Tawab, on both platforms.
Orale. So we talk about the fight. That's what we talk about.
Well, while waiting for you, we're talking about the fight, seeing Wagwan. You know, but at the end of the day, it was not tribal. You know, it was nothing tribal. It says, okay, any fight, boxing, MMA, whatever the case is, you know, they'll be trash talk. Niggas are gonna talk shit to one another. You understand? But that's part of the game, you know. That's what they call it, psychological warfare. You understand? They're trying to get at each other's head. Or he's wearing a purse, or he's dancing like a fish. Nah, whatever the case is. You know, like we all seen the videos, we all seen the pictures. But at the end of the day, after the fight was all love. You understand? Like Malakma brought that to my attention, right? Where the media were trying to portray it as black versus brown. You know, time after time after time, they're doing the same job Adam 22 on No Jumper is doing, trying to pit black
Right.
versus brown for no goddamn reason. I mean, not for no reason. We already know they divide to conquer. You know, we know UPK. We know how to break down Psalm 83. You understand? They basically divide to conquer, and that's what they've been trying to do, and they're still doing. You know, but it's not working like they wanted to. You understand? That fight, I mean, it is what it is. Listen, the better man won. You understand?
Damn right.
I mean, I'm gonna say this, man. There's no way you can show up to a boxing match with gospel music as your opening theme. You know
Hey,
what I
so
mean? It's a
the
lot.
Lord was not with Garcia.
The Lord
So,
was
so
not
like,
with
what's
him,
that
man.
scripture, other one, where we're watching in vain for another nation that cannot help us?
Nation that cannot save us.
Good night. Listen, he
Yo.
came into the fight playing Caesar Borgia music.
Yo,
Right.
that's facts, yo. But I'm gonna tell you something. He's fought two Christians in a row and they lost so bad. He
Good
first
night.
fought the Simeonite. That was before this fight. Tank did, and then he came and fought Garcia, right? And he's a Christian too. That's crazy. Like
Damn right.
two Christians in a
Well,
row, man.
the thing is that they're all Christians at the end of the day, but
Right.
it's like Tank didn't come with no Christian spirit. He came in with cheap heat. He came in blasting. Fuck, nigga, that's the shit I don't like. You know,
Right.
I'm talking about like he came in with a fighting spirit. Like Garcia, he came with I call it. He came like he was still in chains. He didn't come to
Damn.
fight. He came to kneel and pray. Salakia. He kneeled at the end.
Damn.
You know, but the point is, really like, beside like all jokes aside, there was no real animosity between the two brothers. Of course, the oppressor is gonna enjoy watching two brothers go at it against each other. Well, in the kingdom we live in, this is another reason why we should not partake in these fights, whether it's MMA, boxing, wrestling, whatever the case is. At some point you're gonna go against the brother, and hey, may the better man win. But at the end of the day, like we're not even supposed to go at each other like that. Like we've been fighting each other for decades, if not centuries. Good night. 11 tribes, 11 out of 12 tribes went against one tribe. Which was almost decimated. You understand?
Right. If
But,
I could,
Come
I know
on.
for people in the world, right? For like in the ISUPK, like it didn't cause no division in here, right? But
Right.
out there in the world, right? It was pushing a lot of anti-black and anti-brown hatred. You know what I mean? And of course, man, like the winner's gonna have a field day and say what you're gonna say. It's natural for us to talk smack and
Right.
taunt one another. That's just how we that's just how we are. But out there in the world, right? Brothers and sisters don't know who they are and take it to heart. And I guess I'm on the comment sections on a lot of social media pages out there. It got racial, so it's just
Salakia.
add that. Go ahead.
You just brought that to my attention, right? Because I think I sent it to you on Instagram on Messenger, right? There was the rapper, what's his name again? Sad Boy Loco, talking about Shayman Garcia. He didn't represent RAZA the right way. Like he's saying shame on Garcia. He basically shame on him. That's what he said. He put shame on RAZA. That's what Sad Boy Loco said. In the comments, people are like, listen, a grown man called Sad Boy should have nothing to say about Garcia, just not winning a fight. You understand? Or just, put him in the ring, whatever the case is. But you can't say he shamed La Raza because he didn't win the fight. You understand? You could have said he shamed La Raza playing gospel music, but we understand you're not in the truth, so you're not going to say that, right? But at the end of the day, listen, what?
I mean, I'll be honest. I was not expecting him to take a knee and go out like that. You know what I mean? But I mean, I never followed boxing like that to be quite honest. I mean, I watch it because the brothers watch it, and
right.
It's some, like it's an opportunity to engage in carnalismo, brotherhood. Y'all kick it, have some drinks, and chill with one another, and then
Drink our sorrow together.
and of course, naturally, you're gonna want to go for your tribe. You know what I mean? You're gonna want to side with your raza, but
Damn right.
Right.
it's nothing wrong with rooting for your tribe. You know what I mean? There's nothing
Right.
wrong with preferring your tribe. But what is wrong is when you start putting down the other tribes. When
Damn
you
right.
start using that like claiming that your tribe is the best and all the other tribes are nothing. When we're 12, there's 12 of us,
Right.
and
That's
we're all members of the same body.
that.
Each got our
Kawakan.
unique style. Each rolls how they roll. But
Damn right.
when you
Because
start
we
using that to for part of my French, but to shit on the other tribes, that's when you're off. That's when you're wrong. You know what I mean? And that's
right.
what
Definitely.
tribalism is.
Because One West, like we don't agree, like no, I mean we don't argue, Salakia. We don't argue like, oh, this tribe is this, that tribe is this. Because ain't no point of arguing. We already know Benjamin is the best. You understand, Salakia. you know. But all jokes aside, it's like, you know, listen, it's like we're competitive. We're gonna pick and choose whatever the case is, But when it comes down to it, I mean, we're one family. We're one people. And you could act as tribal as we want in the world. We just look stupid, especially to our oppressor, because they know that we're one people. We're just going against at each other. We're just
Right.
going against each other. You understand? Whether it's the gang culture, you understand? I mean, you could prefer food. Like I prefer, like the best food for me is Benjamin and Issachar. That doesn't mean I'm gonna put down the food from the other tribes. You understand? So what? Los habichuelas con dulce. I never forgot. You owe me. But
Yeah.
the
They
point
got
is,
ruined in the airport.
hey, we're post Passover, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, no. Yeah. I'm gonna see you send it out.
But the point is, listen,
Let me share
like
some
you,
real quick on the
Kawakan.
on our main channel.
Hey, for those
This
who wonder like what we're about to share, we're also live on YouTube and Facebook. So go ahead and tune into the channel, UPK La Pura Neta Podcast. Yes, UPK Latino America. You understand, on Facebook as well. If you want to see what we're showing on the screen, all right?
So y'all see the screen right there?
Damn right.
What Captain Mashak said, right? He said there were no winners tonight. Now everyone go back to your quarters. That cotton will pick itself when the sun comes up.
Damn
Meaning,
right.
we get caught up in these sporting events, right? Whether it be boxing, whether it be the NFL, whether it be you name it. But we don't realize the reality of it, and especially when it comes to fighting sports, right? Like UFC, all that. You're literally beating each other senseless. You're risking your life, all for the entertainment of an oppressor. The one
Kawakan.
who benefits from that is the oppressor. And
Kawakan.
that's the reality of it. You know what I mean? Everyone gets caught up in the fighters, and in the players and everything they do, but nobody realizes that they the only true one, and I don't even want to use that term winner, but the only one benefiting is the so-called white man, is the oppressor.
Damn right. And Salakia.
He gets rich off of your demise, off of your pain, off of your death. Because
Kawakan.
fighters go on there and fight to the death a lot of times, man.
It's Salakia. Real quick, we have Officer Karatiza in the chat. Hey, Shalom, Lord in Christ on the Instagram.
Shalom, Lord in Christ.
You understand? But just like Officer Malakma said, so basically, long story short, before we switch to the next topic, because that was a little quick intro. When you see brothers fight in the ring or in the cage, that's modern day Mandingo fighting. You understand? Y'all could just look it up what it is, If y'all remember the movie Django, when Leonardo DiCaprio had two brothers fighting against each other to the death, and he rewarded one with a bottle of beer. You understand? That's basically what it is. You understand? Right. It's just modern day Mandingo fighting. That's all. That's all it is. But hey, let's move on to the next topic. Let's see what we got. So what should we start with? I mean, we already started talking about Mexicans. You understand? Why not
That's
talking about like what you say?
as, as I titled the show, right? We're talking about the self hatred amongst us, right? So,
Damn right.
what you, what you think we should speak on, priest? We should speak
Salakia.
on. Go ahead.
I
What,
think
what you want to say?
I mean, I think he was gonna bring out something, if I remember, from last week. Officer Malakma. Do you remember what it was?
I don't remember.
I think it was a yard too.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, we're gonna have to
Some
wait till he comes back on the show, man. Like,
right.
unfortunately, the canal couldn't make it this week. He said he'll be back next week. So
No sweat, most
of
high in
course,
Christ.
no sweat.
shout out, and big ups to the canal priest and officer. Ayar holding it down in his new zone. He's out there amongst the tribe of Gad, the indigenous, the indigenous gente out there and shit. And that brother's gonna be that he's definitely the answer to someone's prayer out there. You know what I mean? Like he's out
Right.
there and he's gonna bring he's gonna bring the truth out there and wake up a lot of us out there, man. So but yeah, he's not here with us today. He'll be here next week, so we can talk about that then.
Damn
That's
right.
good
But
that
I
he's out
think
there.
I was gonna bring
Salakia.
out. Let's bring out. Yeah, let's go with Swifty Blue because we have a little clip actually with Swifty Blue.
Yeah, we can start with Swifty Blue because yeah, you know what I mean, like that right there, that situation, right? What he has what he's in going through, right, or what he faces is something common amongst a lot of raza, right? Something common amongst us Mexicans, and I'm pretty sure it's the same for you Brachiala and you Sawap, like y'all being you Brachiala being West Indian and you being Dominican. When the minute you cross a border, right, an imaginary line, all of a sudden your people back in your home country, I guess for lack of a better term, disown you. Don't look
Damn
at you
right.
differently, right? And it's
That's so
something
true.
very like let me say this, it's something very prevalent amongst Mexicans. The moment that you're born here in America, the raza back in Mexico do not consider you Mexican. They call you a pocho. They think you're Americanized. They treat you like you're not one of them. Think you have you good and everything, and you they just disown you. You know what I mean? And that's heavy because as you can see that's something similar amongst all three groups amongst you know
Karawakan.
so-called Hispanics and so-called Native Americans and so-called blacks. Like the moment that you're born, you're no longer there, and you come to America, they disown you. And of course, right, and you can link that in the Bible. That should be proof of who we are as a people, right? I know when the moment I say Bible, right, the moment I talk about the scriptures, you automatically assume Christian church, but the Bible, right? The Bible is just a history book. It's a
Right.
law book about a people. And it just so happens that a lot of characteristics of said people in that book, right, match us today. Rasta today, man. So we can start with Swifty Blue because I believe it's a heavy topic.
Karawakan. And you know what? That's crazy because I was during Passover. Hey, first of all, hey, Shalom, Lord in Christ, Mataya is in the building. You understand?
Shalom, Lord
Lord
Christ.
Christ.
Because I was talking to Captain Parasha, Officer Karatia, Shamgar, you understand, Dam Gabar, you understand about how's it in the UK. They were telling me basically just like with Swifty Blue, the Paisas are hating on the people who are born abroad. You understand? So basically it's like in the UK, there's division between Benjamin because of the people who coming from the country, they're hating on the brothers
Right.
born in the UK. It's like some of the brothers born in the UK are gonna hate on the Yardies, which is our term, for paisas, on the Yardies, who come in from the yard, from Jamaica and whatever. It's and just like with us French Benjamites, it's pretty much the same thing, A lot of us were gonna hate
Right.
because you're born in France, so you had a better education, you had a better opportunity, whatever the case is, you know. And the ones in France are gonna be like, oh well, you're born in the islands, so you're more, you're more lawless, acting like people owe you stuff, acting like acting like there's no law, basically, acting wild. You're loud, or whatever the case is. At the end of the day, when it comes down to the oppressor, you're just niggas. You understand? That's all you is. I mean, the oppressor don't see a paisa or a Chicano. The oppressor sees beaners. You understand? That's all he sees. The oppressor don't see a native born in the city or a native born in the reservation. He just sees savages. You understand?
Right.
It's like we created a division among us that, you know, further divides us than we already are, basically. Because what's the difference between a Yardie and a man born in the UK or in Canada or in Toronto? Just like I made a TikTok, I think, right before the Passover, right? There was that brother in Jamaica trying to say, if you're not born in Jamaica, you're not Jamaican. So he's like, how does that make sense? You understand? Because ain't no China man gonna tell any Chinese born in America, like no one is gonna tell China Mac he's not Chinese because he's not born in the mainland of China. You understand? No one's gonna tell. What's his name? What's the name again? Stupid Gook.
Stupid
no one
young.
is gonna tell.
Right.
Hey, we're on TikTok, so it's unfiltered right now. Listen, no one is gonna tell Stupid Young you're not where he's from. He's from Vietnam or he's from Cambodia. I was gonna tell Stupid Young you're not Cambodian because you grew up in you grew up in you grew up in Compton or somewhere like that. He grew up in East LA. No one's gonna tell him, Long Beach, right? He grew up in Long Beach, but no one's gonna tell him, yeah, you're not Cambodian because you grew up in Long Beach. You understand? Do you know how stupid that sounds? Like, even though, yeah, we may have better opportunities in the Americas or in Europe, does that mean that we're not oppressed? You understand? Like y'all too focused, on the fantasy that America is the land of opportunity. We'll go to France, is bad and bougie over there. I mean, listen, if it was that good in France, us Martinicans and people from Guadeloupe and French Guyana, we wouldn't have to smuggle more than half of the cocaine in France, right, to make ends meet. What are you talking about? You understand? If it was that good in America, you understand? I don't think there would be any Chicano just living in the barrios on the street and having to form gangs. You understand? Like, listen, we're not trying to talk down on y'all, hate on y'all, but get your facts straight at the end of the day. Because a lot of us over here are what we want is to go back where we're from. You understand? You think we're here by choice? Like, I'm not talking about the people that are born here, right? Because I'm not born here. I'm born in Martinique. But you think if I had a choice to be like in Canada or in Martinique, I would not be in Martinique? You understand? Like, we have the sun over there, we have the beaches, you have the fruits growing out of the land. You understand? I have like fruit trees in my backyard. But listen, my island is poisoned to the ground for the next 200 years because of the devil the Bible speaks of. You understand? Our water, we don't have no clean water. You understand? They're fighting fecal matter in our water in Guadeloupe and Martinique. You think I'm here by choice in Canada? You understand? People are dying every day where we're from. Like, listen, that fantasy that you may see on TV, in the movies, you're hearing the music, and say, listen, all glitter and gold. That's all I'm gonna say. It's a lot, yeah.
Right. Let me say this, man. Like, it's crazy that we're told, like, especially I'm gonna speak for being Mexican. Like, we're told, if we don't like it here, go back to Mexico. Meanwhile, people are ignorant of the history of what this land used to be before America came in and took it, right? Came and stole it. This has always been, indigenous land, native land, and a border, right? All of a sudden, a foreigner comes in and poses his imaginary lines everywhere, and all of a sudden now I'm a different ethnicity. All of a sudden now I'm not the same as my familia that on the other side of that border, right? Because a lot of us will speak against against our raza, because it goes twofold, right? You got raza in Mexico who look down on us for being, quote unquote Mexican American, but at the same time you got Mexican Americans that look down on raza across the border, right?
You're right.
I'll talk about Latinos
supporters.
Talk about if you don't like it, go back to Mexico. Speak English, start putting down their own. Like we do that to each other, and that's that's our problem, man. We need to we've been indoctrinated. The moment we come over here, we're indoctrinated. You know what I mean? To hate our own.
Right. And Salakia one real quick. To even make it worse, because that term paisas, right? You could also use that term to say, like in English, countrymen. A lot of us, because even in our countries, like don't think because we live in a so-called third world country, we don't have actual cities. Understand? But at the same time, like we have people living in the mountains. You understand? Not like white people living in the mountains. We have like fields and everything. Like we're not savages, right? But the point is, like for people living in the farm, even when they come down to the city in our own countries, like they're still discriminated against, towards their own people. Like, because we see the paisas as the people in Mexico or in people in the country, but then the people in the country who are living in the cities are going to call the people living on the countryside paisas as well. At the end of the day, like we're discriminated against because you still live on the farm or live from the land. Well, I live in the city and this and that. And then you live in America, in Canada, or in France, but I still live on the other side of the border, whatever the case is. I still live in DR. Listen, at the end of the day, we're the same people, and we're still fighting the same oppressor regardless. You understand? Yes, it is not as bad on one side than on the other, but that doesn't mean that it's green. The grass is greener on our side. You understand?
Right.
The only side where the grass is greener is in the ISUPK, wherever you are. You understand?
Damn right.
The only place where the grass is greener in Jamaica is where you see Officer Abadawan and Officer Kayadwan. You understand? The only place where the grass is greener in Canada is when you're with Officer 1000 Adiyar and myself, and Officer 1000 Zabaja and Officer Shayawan. You understand? The only place you can find the grass being greener in Mexico is when you're around Officer 500 Yashikar by Yashikar. You understand? Outside of the truth, the grass is not green. See, outside of the truth, there is not even grass. Salakia.
Say you say that. Go ahead, so
right, officer.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead, Kanan. You go ahead.
I was gonna say that it's funny that you were saying that your own people treating you different, because when I go to DR myself, they call me American, even though I'm speaking the same Spanish. And not only that, but they jack up the prices on me. You know what I'm saying? If they see me from afar, they already know, you know what I'm saying, the price they're gonna give me versus the price they give the natives, you know what I'm saying?
Los precios gringos.
Natives, yeah. So it's funny that, you know what I'm saying, we're dealing with the same issue.
Right. And that's prevalent because, when you go to the time, I'm going to get biblical here. When you go back to the time of Christ, right? The Christian church, right? Christians always like to use this to say that this is, God loving everybody. This is how, that Christ went and changed his mind and went to go save the Gentiles. People don't understand, right, that the Gentiles that Christ was talking about were Israelites. And at that time during the Bible, right, like during the time of Christ, Israelites, the Jews, right, looked down on Israelites that were born outside of Jerusalem. You know what I mean? They cut them off. Like if they didn't keep a Passover, if they didn't keep a feast day, the moment they adopted Greek culture and Greek tongue, right, as the scriptures say, they were no longer considered Israel. They were considered, Greeks. So that's how, that's heavy because as you see, that's evident what happens with us today. The moment you leave Mexico and you come to the United States and you learn English and you start calling yourself American, you're no longer considered Mexican. I think for amongst indigenous people, right, if you're born outside the reservation, outside the tribal nation, you're no longer considered part of that tribe.
Right.
There's a term, right, that's called detribalized natives, right? because a lot of us, lost connection with our indigenous, our indigenous nations and tribes, because of what the oppressor has done. So a lot of, like hardcore indigenous, traditional people out there do not consider us indigenous. They always ask us, "Oh, well, what tribe you from? How come you don't know the language?" And I always got to explain, well, my people were detribalized. It was, we were stripped of our language, our identity, and our culture. You know,
Khan.
so that's what happened back then during the time of Christ. You see that happening again, and the scriptures always say, right? Like paraphrasing it, so like it got my head covered, but whatsoever was written aforetime was written for our learning, right? So what happened before,
Right.
right, is happening again, and we're supposed to learn from that, and have an understanding. And that's heavy because I always wondered why it was like that. I always wondered why, my raza would look down on me for being born here in America. You know what I mean? Knowing the fact that this was once Mexico, knowing the fact that this was once, before prior to the Spaniards coming here, this was all native land, and why the hell I got to consider myself a mestizo or mixed, like when do we ever go back to Spain? You know what I mean?
Right.
How come I can never recall, if I'm really part Spaniard, why is it that none of my familia can, goes back to Spain? How come they don't say, oh, well, our Spanish side comes from this part of Spain. Our forefather was so and so from España. They never say that, but they do tell you, like that you come from Mexico. They can tell you the town in Mexico you come from. You look at all your
Right.
tias, you know what I mean? Your tios and all your familia, right? And they all look brown. They all look indigenous. But somehow we're Spaniards. Somehow we're not. We're no longer Mexican. Somehow we're no longer this because we crossed an imaginary line. And during the time of Christ, the moment you left that imaginary line, when you left Jerusalem, you were no longer considered a Jew. You were
It's
considered a Gentile. You
in
were considered
Salakia, the one.
Heavy.
Go ahead, Ad.
Salakia, I know we already switched topic to like the self hatred, but it comes back, to come back to Garcia and Davis. Like Davis made a comment because Garcia said, "I'm representing Mexico." Davis said, "Yeah, he's not really representing
Right.
Mexico. He's born in L.A." But you already know that's just a trash talk between the two of them. But after the fight, a lot of Issacharites were saying to Garcia, basically, you really didn't represent Raza. You're not even Mexican at this point. You're not even born in Mexico. You're born in LA and you don't even speak Spanish. You
And
understand?
there you go. You know what I mean? Like, it's like the moment you don't speak Spanish and you're born outside, you're no longer considered Mexican. You know what I mean?
Right.
And the messed up part is, Bracchiala, that a lot of us identify as Mexican because we don't know our racial identity. You know what I mean?
Right.
Mexico, right? Even the term Mexico was given, based off the Mexica. So a lot of raza rather call themselves Mexican than so-called than Hispanic, than Latino. You know what I mean? Because even with that term, you're getting away from being, lumped in with the oppressor, lumped in with the colonizer. You know what I mean? Because we're not, like as the history goes, right? The America was reclassifying Mexicans as white, even when they're brown skinned. Like they still reclassify them as white, and you're still not treated like a white person here in America. You're treated as a foreigner. You're chastised for speaking Spanish, which is another colonizer language. Spanish is not our actual language, but they chastise us for speaking that. And that just says a lot. Like it shows where we stand in this place. The even messed up part of it is that our family came over here trying to escape, the conditions back home. The conditions
Right.
back home that were caused by the same country that you're trying to flee to. Like you see the cycle, you know what I mean?
And
And
right.
that's the heavy part.
Salakia. I was
Go
gonna
ahead.
say that while our people treat us and cast us away as soon as we're born abroad, the oppressor comes in and he can say whatever, and they you know what I'm saying, they open their arms to them and they receive
Right.
them with no issues, even if they don't even know the language. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? That as long as they try to say something and you know that, you know what I'm saying, that accent ain't native, but they're accepted no matter what. I mean, right now in DR we have a Arab as a president. I mean, that
Good
goes to
night.
show you our people's loyalty.
Good
Like
night.
they rather
You
call
know
Salakia.
what?
me, yeah.
Right. It's the same situation in El Salvador, man. You got that
That's
Salvadorian president. What's his name? But
Bute
he's
or
a
something like that.
Palestinian. No, his name is something else. But he's a Palestinian. He's not. He's not Salvador. You know, he's not indigenous to that land. He's a foreigner that came in and became a president. Now all of a sudden, now he's building mega prisons, locking up brown men. You know what I mean? Locking up, and of course everyone's praising him, right? Because he's cleaning up the crime, right? But the part that's not talked about is why that crime is there. The part that's
Salakia,
not
I don't
talked
want.
about. Go ahead.
His name is Nayib Bukele.
Nayib Bukele. Okay, Khan, him. Now he's praised as a hero, right? Because he cleaned up the streets of El Salvador and got rid of the gangs. But no one talks about why the gangs were there in the first place.
Right.
No one talks about, how La Mara came to El Salvador, which were, how 18 came to El Salvador, which were gangs made in America, out here in LA. No one talks about the deportation that they did and sent all them gang members to El Salvador right after the civil war that they had, right? But this man comes in, right, and cleans up everything, and he's praised the hero. The
Right.
Salvadorans were blamed and demonized, that we're criminals and we just can't get our act together, and that's why we do what we do.
Hey, Salakia, I don't want.
Meanwhile, go ahead.
Yeah, we have also 5,000 Shapat in the chat on Instagram. Big Shapiz.
Hey,
Yeah,
shalom,
shalom,
sir,
on
Lord
Lord
Christ.
Christ.
Shalom, Yahweh Shem Shabbat.
But
Yeah.
this just this is self-hatred, you understand? And this is biblical, This is what in Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 54, when you understand, even those who are not involved in any type of activities, whether it's gang-related activities, guerrilleros, whatever the case, paramilitaries, right? We're still gonna be, casualties regardless. You understand? You see,
Right.
like all the so-called innocents that Pablo Escobar killed. You understand? That's just prophesied in Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 54, where we're going to go against each other for whatever reason. Even the innocents are going to be, we're going to claim life of the innocents. Why? Because we refuse to listen to the laws and statutes and the commandments of the Most High. You understand? Why? Because not only we lack the knowledge, but we reject the knowledge. The UPK tells you, yeah, you're not a Mexican, you're an Issacharite. You want to argue? Nah, I'm an Azteca. Oh, you're not a Dominican, you're a Simeonite. Nah, I'm a Taino Indian. You understand? Oh, you're not a so-called African American. You're not a West Indian. You're a Judite or a Benjamite. No, I'm from West Africa. Like we reject the knowledge, and then we still get caught up in these curses. And then we're gonna complain, and then we're gonna be like, yeah, you know what? We need to work on each other. We need to fix our communities. Listen, the ICPK is fixing the community. UPK has the solution. You understand? Like,
Right.
You always want to talk about we need to fight for each other. You understand? Instead of against each other, we need to build a military, build an army. But what are you gonna build when you don't even know who to join? You
Right.
You don't even know who you are, and then you want to fight for. Like, who you gonna fight for if you don't even know who to fight for in the first place? You understand? You want to identify as an African. Khan.
Right. If I could, let me say this. How are y'all gonna unite and get things done if none of y'all are on one accord? Let me say this. This is the thing about us in the ISUPK, right? We are all on one accord. And until then, your movements will never work.
Damn right.
And here we have carnalismo, we have brotherhood, you know what I mean? And that, and let me say this, man. Let me say this real quick. It's kind of ironic, right, that we get demonized, right? We get called the Black Hebrew Israelites. We get called extremists. We get called cult members. We're a threat to this and that. When the only thing that we're pushing, right, the only thing we teach is brotherhood and sisterhood for our own.
Right.
For Black and brown. We teach black and brown to love one another, right? To keep carnalismo. And outside of there, I don't know who else is doing that. That's the only thing we do. You know what I mean? People get mad at the Bible, right? Get mad about a book. You know, a book is a book. A book can literally not do anything to you. And you know, the problem is that, you know, it fell in the wrong hands. And those people that were doing what they did, right? The oppressor that got a hold of the Bible and started, you know, making the boarding schools and the missions that's not in the Bible. Nowhere in the Bible is it instructing, you know, oppressors to go and murder, rape, and abuse indigenous people to force them to turn to God. That's nowhere in there. Go ahead, Art.
Real quick, like we will say, yeah, the white man stole everything, but we cannot. We will never say that the white man stole the Bible.
Right.
You know that's crazy.
We give him the credit, Barack Yala. We think he actually wrote it. That's what's crazy. We know he steals everything else, but somehow when it comes to this book, he wrote it.
Right.
Like, he steals everything but our book.
Exactly. I was gonna say too, to add on to what also Barack Yala was bringing out, is that how you gonna join a group when you love everybody? Who's the enemy then?
Right.
Who's
night.
gonna be the enemy?
Listen,
who are you gonna be?
This is what I understand with Christian. You know, talking about we need to fix our community. Let's build an army, an economy, instead. Let's build our military, whatever the case is. But y'all love everybody. Y'all want to save everyone. So who are you gonna fight for if you want to save everyone? If you fight against someone, you must have an enemy. Right. But who is the enemy when you love everybody? Like, make it make sense. That's what we say, you know, Christianity is worse than a drug because the crackheads know the crack is a problem.
If I could, carnal, let me say this. Why is it evil for me to push black and brown love? Why is it evil for me to push brown love? You know what I mean? I want to love everybody. All I'm doing is trying to get us to love our people, man, because we don't have that love for one another.
Right.
You know what I mean? We don't have that love amongst us. Why do you think gangs exist? Why do you think drug dealers exist? Why do you think broken homes exist? Because we don't have that love for one another, man. We have self-hatred. That's our problem. That's why Latinos for Trump exists. You know what I mean? And and I'm not getting political here. I'm not telling people to go vote for, you know, anybody. The only thing I'm pointing out is that you had a man run for president, openly say what he said about Mexicans, and you have a whole group of Mexicans show love to him.
Right.
You got a country, a foreign country that came into a land, used its military to rob, rape, and murder a people, and the people that suffered that at their hands goes and joins that same military. You know what I mean? That says a lot, man. That says a lot about who we are as a people, right? And then the fact that you come against us because we're pushing for black and brown unity, black and brown love, all of a sudden we're seen as evil. We're seen as cult leaders, or we're seen as extremists. What's good? We good?
Also, Barack Yala.
The speed cut off?
I think our Instagram is down though.
So like, I close the live. I close the Instagram live. You know, we'll talk about it. We'll chop it off after the show. You know, we're only going to be live on Facebook and YouTube for the rest of the show. You understand?
Salakia, Barack Yala, what happened? Did the Instagram cut off?
The Instagram didn't cut off. I put in the private chat. I closed the live. You understand? We'll chop it up afterwards for the Instagram live. You know, we're just gonna be live on YouTube and Facebook for the rest of the show.
All right.
But just like Austin Malakman was saying, because listen, I was teaching a brotherhood class. You know, I had a Christian come in trying to tell me that we preach hate. Well, the class is about brotherhood and black and brown love, where we should not kill each other. We should not be in gangs, sell drugs to each other. We should not prostitute our daughters, sisters, mothers, whatever the case is. But then you want to come at me and say, I'm preaching hate because, I'm breaking down John 3:16 where the Most High never said that Jesus died for everybody. Listen, I forgot to show that stupid ass Christian that the Most High actually hates a specific people. Like it's almost saying, he hates them to the core. You understand? Like out of all the nations that are gonna be in slavery, one nation is not gonna be here no more. You understand? Out of all the nations that had a hand against us, one nation is gonna be eradicated. Like what? Why are you trying to listen? Instead of trying to tell us we preach hate, why don't you go and argue with the Most High about why is there hate in the Bible? Like we didn't write the book. We're reading it like you're reading it.
Brock Yalla, let me say this, if I could. What hatred are we preaching? That's my question. What hatred are we preaching, right? You telling me, you know what? So what you're telling me is that I'm not allowed to speak against the evil that the people do to my people. That's the hatred? Because we call the oppressor the devil, that's the hatred? Because we tell our people not to partake in alternative lifestyles, because we tell our brothers and sisters to get off the drugs, to get off the life of crime, to stop doing all the messed up things that we do to you. That's the hatred,
right? Like, I don't understand.
Right. Let me say this, Brock Yalla, and let me break. What is it? Let me go make some oppressors cry in the car, man. I hate to break it to y'all. And when I say oppressors, I mean gringos. Let me go make some gringos cry in the car, man. I don't hate to break it to y'all, but I'm gonna break it to y'all. You know what I mean? There's no such thing as reverse racism. There's no such thing as racism towards white people.
Right.
And the reason why, right? I'm gonna say this, Brock Yalla, and Swap. The reason why is because nobody hates you because of your race. Nobody hates you because you're blonde haired and blue eyed. Nobody hates the so-called white man. No one hates America just because, for no reason. You're hated for the things that you do. You're judged not by the color of your skin, but by the contents of your character. And you oppressors, you Europeans, you Spaniards, you British, you Portuguese, you French, you Italians, you Russians, you Ukrainians, all of you European nations, you all have horrible characters. You have horrible histories and past that you have done to the people of this land, to my indigenous ancestors. And that's why we, quote unquote, hate you. And we don't even hate you. That's the even heavier part, Brock Yalla. My people do not hate y'all. They go join your militaries. They go show love to you. They forgive you. They go to your religions. They serve you. Do everything with a smile on their face for you. And you get insulted because we speak out against the crimes that are done to you. That's all our people do. Go ahead, Hawk.
They're trying to say, that's hate speech and, everything like that. Or, this is a scripture they like to pull when they talk about us, right? They say, listen, y'all not even following the Bible because thou shalt not abhor an Edomite. That's what they're always trying to say. And they don't even understand what to abhor means. And so like we don't. Salah got one.
Listen, Salah, you know what? I'm gonna take the hat off because I think we might have to pull out some precepts tonight, man.
Hey, you know good night. But they don't understand that. What it means is like, we don't treat them with hatred. Like, listen, I walk outside, people are telling me, "Oh, nice dog." I tell them, "Thank you."
Right.
Am I supposed to say who are you talking about? Are you talking about your own child? He's saying, "La." I'm just saying, thanks, thank you. So they're trying to say, "Are you gonna breed a dog?" Yeah, maybe. Can I get a puppy? I don't know. We'll see. Understand? I'm not gonna tell you hell no because you're a Caucasian. I don't give a damn. You understand? Like, listen, when I open the door, I mean, if I think about, Lord willing, I don't forget to hold the door for anybody, not because, just because I'm a respectful person. Like, I don't treat anybody with hatred. The neighbors tell me hi. I tell them hi. Like, I'm just gonna cuss out the neighbor because he's a devil or he's a stinking Hamite.
You know why?
You
If I
understand?
could, Rock Yella, I'm gonna interrupt you just because I'm gonna say this, right?
Okay.
The reason why they consider that, you know, hate and all that is because that's what they did. The moment a
Right.
so-called black or so-called Hispanic said hi to them, their responses to them was, "Don't talk to me, you wetback. Don't talk to me, you N-word," because I don't know, for language, Facebook, hate speech. Don't get me on that, you know. But they'll say, "Don't talk to me, boy. Speak
Right.
English." That's how they treated us. They treated us with hatred, and the only thing we're doing today is just putting our claim against a nation that has done crimes to us.
So like
You're
that one.
telling me,
I'll
go
make it
ahead.
more simple, right? You
Right.
see, listen, if a white woman gets robbed by a 6 foot tall black man and the police come and ask for the description of that, person who committed a criminal act against her, what is she's gonna say? I got robbed by a black man who's about, 6, 7 foot tall. So what we're doing, we're just describing the person who committed a crime
Right.
against our people. That's
We're
all we're
describing
doing.
the perpetrator.
Right. This is all we're doing. Listen, that person who murdered my people, enslaved my people, masked, raped my people to oblivion is the goddamn devil the Bible speaks of, whom we call the
Right.
white man or Caucasian man today. Well, not only that, but if we hold them accountable, because I was trying to talk about, well, you only hate white people. We're talking about white brave people. What about the Arabs? Well, we hold them accountable.
Oh,
You
every
understand?
nation accountable.
Every nation we hold accountable.
Hell, we hold
The
Uncle Tom's
Arabs, the
accountable.
Africans. Good night. We hold the Uncle Toms accountable. You understand? For being Uncle Ruckuses and Uncle Toms and
Right.
Kio
Hey, Brock Yalla, what do white people like to say? They say, "Oh, I'm not racist. I hate everybody equally." Well, we're
Good
not
night.
racist. We're not racist. We hold everyone accountable equally. We're not
Damn
singling
right.
out one group over the other. Everybody gets held accountable. What are y'all talking? We're not racist at all.
Listen,
If we go by
we all
by
get
your
the smoke.
logic,
So, like, I was gonna say, man, that I'm saying I don't know why they're so fragile when it comes to us, like being
Fragile.
overly sensitive, because you know what I'm saying, their ancestors, fucking, I mean, Salaki, you know what I'm saying, they went through the Caribbean, you know what I'm saying, robbing, raping, and murdering. So why have the feelings now? Like, why have all that guilt right now and be ashamed and stuff? Nah, man. Just live
you
with
know
what you
why?
did.
Salaki.
Your ancestors did.
Said
You
it
know why?
yourself.
You know
Let
what I
me say
mean?
this. Let me say this. So what?
Go ahead.
They have it now because now we're speaking up. Now we're talking
Right.
about
Right.
it. Back then, nobody was talking about it. They put so much fear into our ancestors that they didn't dare speak about it openly. Now that we're waking up, now that we're talking about it, now they don't want to face it. They don't want to face the reality that they're gonna have to pay for what they done. They don't want to face karma, for lack of a better term. You know what I mean? Karma, where what goes around comes around. They know that they're gonna have to own up to it, but they don't want to face that. They need to be able to
Salaki
sleep
out
at night.
one.
Right.
Not only that, right? But it's the fact that when men under Commander General Yohana keep saying it, like, listen, y'all been murdering us in the streets for the past couple of centuries. They can't turn around and tell Commander General Yohana, well, you blacks kill other blacks. There is no black on black crime in the ISUPK. You understand? You're not talking to no gangbanger on the street, making the propaganda of the gang culture. You understand? The drug use in his music, talking about, well, white people this, that against us, but we need to stop the drug epidemic in our neighborhood. Yeah, promoting it in our music. It doesn't happen in the ISUPK. We speak
Right.
against drugs and we actually do something about it. And you will not see one drug addict or one drug user in the ISPK. We speak against prostitution, you will not see one prostitute nor pimp in the ISPK. You understand? We
Right.
speak against black on black crime, you will not see one brother murdering another brother or sister harming another sister in the ISUPK. You understand?
Right.
That's what they really mad about. Because they cannot point a finger at us and say, you're guilty of this, you're guilty of that. So you can speak against it. That's what they're really mad about. You understand? Because they can turn around and tell Snoop Dogg, well, you can't speak against, stop the gang violence when all you do is, what Snoop Dogg is like, what, 50 years old, 55 years old, still promoting Crips. You understand? He's not, he's not valid to speak against gang violence. You understand? I seen what the Game and Ti trying to speak against violence. The Game is still rapping blood in his music. Ti, he makes music. He's talking about, shoot someone, or Young Jeezy talking about, stop the drug trade in the neighborhoods. Niggas still rapping about fucking selling nickels in dime bags. What are you talking about? You understand? You're not valid. You understand? You can speak against anything that you want to speak against if you're still promoting it, whether it's in the music or in your actions. You understand? Listen, step out of the ring. That's listen. If you wanna fight against our oppression, you understand? Be against your oppression. Don't be a part of your oppression. That's the thing they don't want to understand. They always want to talk about the revolution, what is going to be televised and this and that. Nigga, you're not the one on TV. You're the one behind. You're the one watching the revolution on TV. We're the ones on TV, part of the revolution. You understand? The ICPK is the real revolution. Commanding General Yahana is the real revolutionary. You understand? In these last days, until under Christ, of course. You understand? Like, y'all don't know what you're talking about. We need to be like the Panthers, told guns and everything. But the Panthers, we're still drug dealers at the end of the day. You understand? Like, that's another reason why the Panthers fell. They had no brotherhood,
Right.
and they were still addicts. They were still smoking weed. Like, there was, the oppressor could still hold them accountable for some of the actions they were taking. A lot of stuff they were doing they were not supposed to do. They still did it. Like, you cannot point the fingers like Command General Yohana, say, hey, you're speaking against the alternative lifestyle, but then some of your members are nah, we're not purple over here. You understand?
We're not. If I
We have
could,
brotherhood.
Barack, we're not. We're
Oh
not
God,
hypocrites over here. We're not. You
damn
know what I mean?
right.
That's something heavily frowned upon that gets dealt with. Hypocrisy. You know what I mean? We don't do that here. In here, our yays are yays and our nays are our nays. Meaning, we follow through on what we say. We have to keep our
Right.
word. You know what I mean? And we definitely, one of the biggest things the Lord looks down upon a lot. What is it? Upon hypocrites, right? That that's one of the 7 things that the Lord hates. So our people, the reason why these movements don't work, why they get exposed, is because they say one thing and do another.
Damn right.
And that and let me talk about hypocrisy real quick, Brock Yala. Now that we're on the subject, right? Just like you had a Christian come at you talk about we're preaching hate, I had a Christian or a Catholic come at me about, that we're a cult. We're in a cult, you know what I mean? Because our quote unquote theology is man made. You know what I mean? And it's interesting, right? Because all of a sudden when it comes to us, right, we have to provide evidence, we have to provide the proof of who we are. We have to, you know, for some odd reason, the things that they come at us with, they like to blanket us under this whole new movement called BHI, right? Black Hebrew Israelites, and try to lump us in with the things other groups do and say. This is why we always have our disclaimer, right, where we say we are not affiliated with any other Israelite group. And the Christian
Damn
had a
right.
problem with that when I said that. So I turned it around on him. First thing I did, when the Christian came at me with that, is I said, "You're a Catholic, right? Is your religion not man-made? You're telling me God himself made the Catholic Church?" And of course, he got all in his feelings, but it just shows the hypocrisy, because you're gonna say I'm in a cult because my theology is man-made. Meanwhile, what about yours? What about what you follow? Talk about you got historical backings. Well, where's the proof that God made your church? God made your religion if men didn't make it. If you can't prove that God made it, you know why? You can't prove that because God never made your church. He never made your religion. Men made it. And if your church was made by a man, then by your own logic, you're in a cult. The Catholic Church is the biggest cult on this planet, along with the Christian Church. As a matter of fact, why don't we pull up the definition of cult? Shall we?
See, it's funny because I had a dictionary right in front of me.
Khan, you got it, Brachiola?
1 second, one.
I got it, sir.
Let's define cult, man. Because this is what baffles me, man, is why we're considered a cult. People, you know, we look, I guess, the way we look, what we talk about. I mean, have y'all not seen actual cults out there? Have y'all not seen the Heaven's Gate cult? The what is the people that follow David Koresh and the things they did? But we're the cult.
Good night.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You want to talk about what we? Right. Go ahead, Brock Yalla.
I say we're not David Koresh. We're not Jim Jones.
Right.
Understand? We're not the Pope. You understand? We're not. What's his name? We're not. What's his name again? Muhammad, they call him.
Who?
Hey, y'all remember Jim Jones?
Right.
Jim Jones. We're not Buddha.
Buddha as well. What about the Dalai Lama right now? You know what I'm saying?
Right. Dalai Lama.
That's a damn cult right there.
Good night. It seems like all the cult leaders are actually like, hey, listen, say less. You know, let me read the definition of a cult, Ottawa.
Hold on, I got you, Brock Yalla. Let me share it on the screen for our viewers. You know what I'm saying? Let's share it. But whenever you got it, priest, go right ahead.
You know, because I have a couple definitions I'm reading right now. Where are you reading from? Is it from Webster Dictionary?
Right, this is the Merriam-Webster's Dictionary.
Okay, because I was going to read from the Oxford Canadian Dictionary.
Oh, go ahead,
You know, basically, Oxford Canadian Dictionary, it says a system of religious worship directed towards a particular figure or object. That sounds like Christianity.
Wait, right. Hold on. Say that. Read that again,
Tawakan cult. A system of religious worship directed towards a particular figure or object.
Brock Yalla. Now let me ask a question, right? Would the statue of the Virgin Mary be that said object or figure?
So like would the rock in Mecca be an object?
Right. Wouldn't that cross be a figure that figure that's talking about?
Wait. Wouldn't that Buddha statue be in a person or a figure they're talking about?
Right.
Wait.
What got any more on it?
What about the deities in Hinduism or in Egyptology?
Right.
But yeah, I have more on it. Right. It says a relatively small religious group regarded as strange or sinister. Whoa, good night.
So
on the word sinister.
Right. So to tell your brother to put down the drugs, to teach to love your brother as yourself, right, is sinister. Because we are a small group, you know what I mean? Technically. But no, it's sinister for us to teach that, you know, to teach black and brown men to stop hating one another and to, you know, start keeping the commandments, which translates to brotherhood and sisterhood. That's sinister.
I understand what you're saying, because before it says strange. It's strange for them, for black people, to love one another.
Right.
In the last days we're in right now. I think that's why they call us a cult. They're not used to seeing black on brown love. They're not used to seeing brown on black love.
Right.
They're not used to seeing black people get off of drugs. They're not used to seeing black people not being criminals. Right, that's why they call us a cult. I understand now.
Right. Meanwhile, isn't it not sinister to prey on children? Isn't it not sinister to sleep with that brother's wife when you're supposed to be right there giving her marriage counsel? When you're telling her to divorce her husband because he doesn't have a job? Isn't it sinister to teach that God loves you no matter what?
Isn't it sinister for a man to become a woman and vice versa?
Right. Oh, let's not even don't even get us started on that, Barack. What about these what are they called? You know, these new pastors that they got that are pro alternative lifestyle.
Good night.
But we're the cult. We're in the cult. And these are the people that accuse us of being a cult. And that's why, you know, that cat got mad when I told him, you know, by your own logic, you're in a cult. And of course we didn't get deep into it, but you know what he said about us being a cult, tries to act like he knew the whole history of One West and the men before us. You cannot say we're in a cult because of that, because by your own logic, you're in a cult. Men formed the Catholic Church. Okay, I know
Right.
reading the history, men formed it. So then you're in a cult. And like I wanted to show this definition, Brock Yala, because this is more proof that the Catholic Church is a cult. Right?
And Salaki out of one.
Go ahead.
Real quick, you want to check the private chat real quick as well after the definition?
Con. The private chat on the StreamYard? Oh, Con, okay. Con. What we got right here? Well, you know what I mean? But to go back to it, right? We're going by what the definition is. Go read that. Y'all see this part right here? Number 3?
Yeah, it says a system of religious beliefs and rituals.
Right. A system of religious beliefs and rituals. Now, I'm not the what the general always say, not the smartest man in the world, but I believe putting dirt on your forehead would be a ritual. Eating, grape juice and crackers every Sunday is a ritual.
Damn right.
You know what I mean? Singing
putting
gospel
ash on
music,
your forehead,
right, is a ritual. Now all of a sudden, and y'all want to call us a cult. So this is just comes to show the hypocrisy of the Christian church, of the Catholic Church, because it just shows they all the things they accuse us of, they do. All the things that they want to demonize us of, they do. We never harmed anybody. We've never, told our people to go harm and attack anyone. But somehow we're the danger. We're the extremists. This is why we say the oppressor is the devil the Bible speaks of, because he goes and lies and pushes, fake false propaganda about us. And let me say this. Unless you were in here, unless you were in the school during that time, you don't know a damn thing about the history of One West, who founded it and what it is. And you can never tell me anything about the school I'm in, the organization I'm in, about the men above me, about my brothers. There's nothing you can ever tell me.
Damn right.
You know what I mean?
They know nothing about us either. Like all
they don't know
is that we're a cult. All they can say is what's on the news and what their priest tells them.
Right.
Their pastor tells them.
Let me say this. I want to give this disclaimer out there real quick. Vocab Malone is not an expert on Israelites. Okay?
What the hell is that?
Right. That clown is not an expert on Israelites. I don't know. For some odd reason, everyone loves running the Vocab Malone. Let me say this. He runs like the plague. Like he runs from Camp to Zariak like the plague. You know what I mean? He never recovered from that debate he had with him. That's why Vocab Malone likes to go out and he's like, what Vocab Malone reminds me of? Y'all remember that? I mean, for lack of a better term, y'all remember a rapper by the name of Stitches?
Good night. Salakia. Hey,
I don't know.
He wanted to fight the game.
Either of the both.
Yeah, the cat that wanted to fight Games so bad, right? And he got knocked out by Games manager, Whack 100. It's another story. But, you remember how Stitches, after all that, kept trying to call out Games, kept, trying to do this and that, like crying for attention, crying for clout. Well, that's who Vocab Malone is, man.
Damn right.
He's a Christian that got he got massacred. I don't know what the term is to describe what happened to him, but he got
just like
destroyed.
Captain Tazariak said, Tazariak spiritually punched him in the face. You understand?
And he never recovered for that, man.
Hey,
he's Vocab Malone is traumatized.
He got PTSD.
Right. Exact. That's what he has. He has PTSD, man, and that's why he to this day, it's like just every time I see this, man, it's like, Who the hell made this guy the expert on Hebrew Israelites? That's my question.
So like, it's not even just him. You understand? There's all sorts of Christian lunatics or fake Israelite lunatics. You understand? There's Black Jesus minister. There's these two niggas claiming to be Jesus. Like Salakia, I remember the episode of Cross the Line.
Oh man.
We had the battle of the Jesuses. I was like, good night. They were trying to prove each other who's the real Jesus reincarnated. Right?
That's funny, man. I gotta see that.
Wait, I think you had the Jesus from Compton. You had Compton Jesus and Mississippi Jesus. I was like, good night.
My God.
Wow. That's crazy.
That's it. Just, man, all these nut jobs out there, man. Like, it's like, the point is, man, unless you're in here, you don't know a damn thing about Hebrew Israelites. You don't know a damn thing about the history of One West, what we are, or what we do. And you should really just be quiet and sit down.
Outside of the ISPK is nothing but lunacy. Straight up. Y'all gonna believe. Like, I have this nigga on Facebook. His name is RAZA, some stupid ass name. He said, y'all believe in Zeus. I'm like, what are you talking about? Because in English, you know, Jesus. In Spanish, Jesus. I was like, good night.
Jupiter.
Yo, where y'all come with this, man? That's no debate, man.
That's why, you understand? That's what we tell you. The UPKs keep telling you, put all the drugs down, but especially the weed. Like, not especially, put all the drugs down, but the weed.
Get out Christianity,
so
man.
harmful.
Christianity is the worst drug out of all of them.
Christianity is the worst drug because it's that in the world. I mean, in the world, we all did some stuff. You know, I was smoking weed in the world. I knew how to weed pop.
Right.
I'm like, good night. You know, I found a UPK. They're like, most Christ that got me off of weed. You understand? The crackhead on the block, he knows that he has a drug problem. He's a crackhead. But as a Christian, he can even fathom the fact that Christianity is the worst drug that ever is upon the face of the earth. You don't even understand Christianity is white supremacy. You don't even understand. You're not even supposed to love everybody.
That's heavy. You want to know the proof that Christianity is white supremacy? When you got and you know, I won't get too much into it, but when you got the likes of Vocab Malone, when you got the likes of all these Christians who push the narrative on us, when they try to use their big, you know, their language in these big terms, because they're trying to push the narrative that they're superior, right? That they know everything and you know nothing because you're black or brown, saying that you're God's chosen people. They like, for some odd reason, Brock Yala, for some odd reason, Sawap, these cats love to push the narrative that we know nothing, right? For the same people, and this is the same narrative that we don't have jobs, that we didn't graduate high school. Like, they're pushing this narrative that we're ignorant. You know what I mean? And that whole narrative is based in white supremacy. Go ahead.
What's funny is that, you know what I'm saying, our people believe it because they're so destroyed that they believe that they are nothing and that they are, you know what I'm saying, drug dealers and gangsters. But yet they don't seem to mind that the oppressor does the same thing or worse.
Right.
That the history backs it up. Because we're just bringing out history.
Sawab said.
Go ahead.
You know, just like Sawab said, right? When it comes to us, like, oh, y'all were drug dealers, y'all were gangsters, y'all used to do this, so y'all have no knowledge. Yeah, y'all gonna listen to Trump say, you know, y'all gonna listen to every single oppressor. When he's the biggest drug dealer, he's the biggest gangster. You understand? He's the biggest liar, thief, murder, whatever, like, you know, whatever criminal activity, sinful lifestyle there is on the face of the earth. He's the originator. But y'all not gonna be like, well, white people, they don't know nothing. You know, they used to be gangsters. Nah, they're just drug addicts. I mean, one of the biggest drug addicts is the white man. Like, he's doing all types of drugs just for fun.
Right, the fentanyl crisis.
Right, like, it's fun for him to use fentanyl. Like, you know, they're the biggest cokeheads in the world. You understand? But at the end of the day, well, since he's a slave master, you know, he's controlling the whole world. He's the man in power. So, you know, he's the one that we have to listen to. He's the one that's valid. You know, have you ever heard about that? Ak and Adawan, right? Have you ever heard the term that, listen, when you listen to a documentary and it's a British person speaking, it actually sounds smart?
Right.
You understand? Like when you listen
Sounds
to like a documentary and you hear like a British accent, it actually sounds smarter than if you listen to anything, a documentary
right.
about whatever. You
And
understand?
that's what's crazy is, it's like I was going, so cats think we don't know anything because we don't use big words,
Right.
big fancy words. You know what I mean? They assume that we're ignorant and we're unlearned and we're just lazy and no good because we don't use the high vocabulary that they use. You know what I mean? And that's what amazes me is like we get your point. Like we understand plainly what you're trying to say. You know what I mean?
Wait a
And you
minute.
used all that fancy language, all that terminology to hide and deflect from the fact that you got cut, that you got
Right.
exposed, to show that you don't know what you're talking about.
Salaki Adawan.
Go ahead, Ak.
So instead of saying, you know, the white man is the original caveman, should I say the Caucasoid race are troglodytes?
Exactly.
Damn right.
Good
That is
night.
that is totally not ignorant, Barakyala. That is sophisticated.
Good night.
Hey, I was gonna say that, you know what I'm saying? They call us, you know what I'm saying, drug dealers, drug users, but I'm saying as of right now, the president's son has been dealing with addiction. And you know what I'm saying? He's been breaking the laws, but he gets away with it because he's the president's son. You know what I'm
Let me
saying?
play a video real quick, Akio.
Yeah,
So
that
like,
video
make
that
sure you play the
was
video,
basically
right?
Right. Let me play the video of hold on, I got a video to play.
Before you play the videos, I want Swap to be specific. Like when you say addictions, are you talking about his crack or prostitute addiction?
everything. The gun
Right.
charges, you know what I'm saying? I'm talking about everything. You know what I'm saying?
Understand?
The supposed laptop that or the journal that got lost with information regarding them, everything, the whole thing, the scandals.
Are
But
you
yeah,
talking about
we're the evil ones though
information
because
that
we
got
bring out the
lost
history.
and found?
Y'all ready, Akim, or go ahead, keep hitting your point.
Are the viewers ready?
Are the viewers
right?
Let's all right.
And suggest
We can hear the video. Okay.
we have the U.S. military shoot missiles into Mexico.
Shoot missiles into Mexico for what?
He would say to go after the cartels, and we would have this private discussion.
I got a question. You want to shoot missiles into Mexico because of the cartels, but what about the white on white crime? Why aren't you talking about the white on white violence? Why aren't you talking about your how your people go and don't want to work and abuse the welfare? Well, you shouldn't blame Mexicans. Why don't you pull yourselves up by your own bootstraps and take accountability? Right? Nobody owes you anything, right? Go ahead, Ak.
That other devil, that female dog said, shoot missiles in Mexico for what? Like she even couldn't understand herself. Like, what are you talking about? Shoot missiles in Mexico? You understand? Because at the end of the day, like that devil saying, for the cartel, this and that. Listen, y'all not going against China for the fentanyl, though.
Right.
Are you?
But he's blaming Mexico for the fentanyl.
We want to blame Mexico for the fentanyl. Well, it's common knowledge that fentanyl comes from China.
Right.
What do you have to say about the Chinese now?
So like I was gonna say, before you play it though, sir, I was gonna say that if she acts like she's like surprised by it, it's probably because she doesn't want her favorite spot in Mexico to be destroyed.
Right.
It's not like she's interested in the people.
Let me say this, Brock.
She has a resort in Mexico.
Right. Nah, let me say this too. She's not surprised. She's not surprised. Right. She just doesn't want to appear like she's supporting that, but deep down she supports it. Deep down she's with it. But she can't appear racist. You know what I mean?
Where I'd say Mr. President, I understand the motive because he was very serious about dealing with drugs in America. I get that. We all understand. But
dealing with drugs in America. So these oppressors, right? These gringos will blame Mexicans for their drug problem in America. Meanwhile, you, Raza, cannot blame the white man for anything.
Wait, Salaki out of one. I mean,
Right.
why can't they do like Nancy Reagan and just say no?
Right, just say no.
Oh,
so it's the Mexicans' fault that you use drugs. That's what you're telling me? Meanwhile, when we say this, we're told we can't say that. We're told we can't blame the white man. We're told we're being lazy. We're told we're not taking accountability. You know what I mean?
God. So
we cannot blame the devils, but they can blame everybody else.
They can blame everybody else, right?
Like they blame the Mexicans for the drugs. Salakia, go ahead.
Salakia, I was gonna say that. You know what I'm saying? Is it that they want to stop drugs? Because you know what I'm saying? Salakia, I was gonna say that. You know what I'm saying? If the mission is to stop drugs, then they should stop their whole push of marijuana that they have right now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They can start with that instead of promoting it, you know what I'm saying, to young workers. Because I know the state of New York right now is promoting it like crazy. They want us to enter into that industry here in New York. So if they want to start with ending drugs, they should start at home.
Right. Just say no.
Damn right.
Yeah, right. They want to blame the Mexicans for the drug problems. They want to blame the Arabs for the terrorism. You understand? I mean, listen.
Let me say this, Brock.
And don't invade countries. That's
right.
it.
Go ahead.
Salaki. No, I was just going to say, just say no to the drugs. Like, y'all making it seem like Mexicans are forcing you to use drugs. You understand? Why don't you just say no? Just
nobody makes y'all do it. Right.
Right.
Let me say this. Let me say this. There's no one who acts more entitled on this planet than the oppressor, than so-called white people.
Damn right.
No one acts more entitled than them. These people will tell you, will get offended by you speaking another colonizer language in front of them. You know what I mean? Will tell you to get over what happened to you. Meanwhile, they want to go attack another country and launch bombs at it for for the drug problem, for the terrorism, whatever, you name it. But somehow you don't have a right to act entitled, but they can. This is why they're the devil. You know what I mean? And let me say this. Let's land the plane right and bring it back home. The reason why they're able to get away with this, right, and why they're able to do it is because of the self-hatred we have. Because we don't speak up when we need to speak up and call them out. We don't ever tell them, well, what about the white on white crime? Nobody ever stepped up and told Donald Trump, well, what about you? You're killing your own. What about the murder, the hundreds of them? When he said what he said about the Mexicans at his rally, not one Mexican said, well, what about your own? You're killing your own. We don't ever tell them that. We sympathize with them. Meanwhile, when it comes to us, they never sympathize with us. And they never will. And that's what we need to realize. We need to realize that our oppressor will never sympathize with us, will never have compassion towards us. The only place you're going to find compassion for your own is within your own. And it's within right here, within the ISUPK.
And Salaki, other one.
Go ahead.
It kind of segues into, I would say, our last topic because we're almost been going for 2 hours, right? If I don't know if you or Swab could pull up the article of the former Mexican president who is of Spaniard descent, was a CIA agent.
God, where's it at?
I sent it to you. You have it on La Pura Neta podcast chat or in your own personal chat, or even Swab has it.
Right? No sweat. You know what, Salakia? Before we go, let's touch on, or we can come back to it. But let's touch on that Swifty Blue video real quick because that also ties in. You know what I mean?
Kind of okay.
Let's play this real quick.
Mexican Americans as kind of being soft.
They see me as a cholo.
Okay, they call you a cholo.
Cholo, el cholo. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And how do they react to cholos out there?
They just see them as they got an opportunity. Like if they're on the other side of the border, they got money. That's how they see them on it. People on the other side of the border, that's how they see them. Like, oh, if they're coming from the other side, they got money because there's more job opportunities over there, you know? So it can be a big deal because, like, you know what I'm saying? You go to Mexico with a lot of money, man, the police gonna take it from you. You know what I'm saying? So it's a big deal, but it's like, man, like everybody knows what time it is. Everybody knows what time. They're less fortunate on the other side of the border. On this side of the border, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's a lot of money on this side. On the other side, it's not much. So what do you expect in the poor areas? You gotta be careful because they're gonna take it from you. They're gonna take it from the places, you know, they're trying to eat, they're trying to survive. They're hungry too.
Do you think Mexican people in Mexico?
So you know that goes back to what we said earlier about how we look differently crossing that imaginary line. But also you see the poverty that's on the other side and why that whole drug trade exists. The one responsible for all of that is America, right? Why do you think America's so prosperous? Why do you think all the money's on this side and why it's not on the other side? It's because they created all that.
Yeah, right.
Going back to earlier about El Salvador, the reason why El Salvador was a hellhole with all the gang violence is because America deported all the gang members out there to El Salvador. Everything that's happened throughout Latin America, South America, whatever you want to call it, right, is because of America. And people get mad and offended by that, but it's the truth. Is the truth. America is responsible for all of it. The so-called white man is responsible for all of it. And let me say this before all you Uncle Toms and Tío Tomases get offended by what I say. The white man has no problem blaming a whole nother race for his problems. They got no problem blaming Mexicans for their fentanyl crisis. And we're going to find out the connection. Go ahead. What's the next video? Or the next article?
So I posted the link, I think.
Con, I got it right here.
You know, you're going to see that. Good night. Listen.
That's what I mean.
No one should ever be surprised.
Right. That's what I mean, man. This is who runs Mexico. And when you got idiots out there that say, oh, well, Mexico's a shithole country because y'all can't control, you don't know, you're corrupt and this and that. We don't run the government in Mexico. Mexicans don't run Mexico. You got foreigners that run Mexico. You got oppressors that run Mexico. Just like every other country out there. You got, how in the hell, that's my question, Brock. How in the hell does a damn Palestinian become the president of a country that's not Palestine?
Good night.
An Egyptian, an Italian, a Spaniard become president of a country that he's not native to. Isn't that clause exists here in America? Where you're not born in America, you can't become the president. Oh, Salakia, they probably were born in the land, right? But here in America, right, like that's the clause, right? But somehow in these other countries, how these other foreigners come in here and become presidents, man? You know what I mean?
So like the other one, it's simple. For them, for instance, for the Spaniards, for instance, right? Latino America is just an extension of the Spanish Empire. Even though they were, you know, so-called free from the Spanish change, it don't matter. For them, it's still an extension of their kingdom. You understand? They go over there to make business. Then when they feel like it, they go back to the Canary Islands, you know, to the Basque country. You understand? In their farmhouse, you know, like they can only come in Latin America for business and pleasure, not to just rest. You understand? For the pleasure, they go back to Spain. They go enjoy time with their family. You understand? On a vacation over there. Right? But besides that, like, why would they give a damn about a people they enslaved and they still oppressed?
Right.
You know, that's how Spain was able to be prosperous, is by oppressing these people. So why free the people, you know, at the expense of the prosperity of Spain? It would not make sense for them. You understand? This is why you have, like, go ahead, Ak.
I was gonna say, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it's all our oppressors that have been taking turns, like, governing our people. Because I remember when I
Right.
was a child, there used to be a Japanese man running, I think it was Peru, by the name of Alberto Fujimori.
Right.
He
I
wrote,
remember learning about him.
yeah, yeah, I remember that. He was like 10 years into power. Yeah, he was in Peru for like 10 years straight, if I
That
remember
is crazy,
correctly.
man.
You
Like
know,
this is
Alberto Fujimori.
Japanese, I
Yeah,
believe, is what it was.
Yep.
yeah, right. That sounds like some anime name. Yes,
Come,
and
but
we
let's
have
get
all
it.
these heat because the problem is that we let these heathens in and then we're gonna complain. But why let them in? You
That's the
understand?
self
That's
hatred, Barack. That's the self hatred
all
we have,
time.
right? That's why we let these other nations come in. You will never see a Mexican be president of Japan. I'll tell you that much. You'll never see a Salvadoreño be president of Palestine, or uh, uh, a Colombiano be president of Italy. You will never see that. You know what I mean?
Right.
But somehow they can come over here and be presidents in our countries. Go ahead.
Right.
I was gonna say, if that does happen, it'll be the best ranked country ever. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Because we always go triple and double. You know what I'm saying? The work when it comes to other nations, man. To
Right.
kind of like we never go hard like that for our own people. We go harder for other nations, man. That's what's
Right.
sad, man.
Yeah, let's get
That's
into this
what's
article real
crazy,
quick.
man. Let's get it. Do you want me to read it? I can read it.
So what if you can't read Baba Shot? I can't read. It's too small for me.
Khan. The top part first.
Right. Read the title and then you'll get into the article.
Khan. The title says, according to the leaked documents of the Pentagon, Jose Lopez Portillo, the former president of Mexico, who led the country from 1976 to 1982, was an agent of the CIA.
An agent of the CIA. Isn't that something, man? This is how you know this is the evidence that America has their hand in Mexico, that they run Mexico. So when you clowns out there want to talk about, oh well, if this was all Mexico, it would be it would be a shithole country because of all the corruption. It would be just corrupt like Mexico. No
Right.
kidding. It's like that because America corrupted Mexico. America is the reason why Mexico is the way it is. You know what I mean? Man, it just kills me
Right.
the things that people say. Go ahead, keep reading that.
Khan. It says, recently declassified documents published by the U.S. National Archives reveal that former Mexican President Jose Lopez Portillo, who served as the country's leader from 1976 to 1982, was allegedly an asset of the Central Intelligence Agency, the CIA.
Isn't that something? And let me say this real quick. That's how we lose. That's how America was able to come and steal the land from our ancestors, right? It was not because they were technologically superior. It's not because they're greater than us. It's because we didn't have that sense of unity and love amongst our own, right? Our indigenous ancestors weren't united as one. They weren't all on one accord. Hence, the conquistadors were able to come in and pit tribes against one another, had tribes infiltrate one another. Well, this is the proof today going on in Mexico, where you have, the CIA go and take this man and infiltrate Mexico. You know what I mean? And I don't know his background, right? I'm sure I wouldn't be surprised you find out he's a Spaniard.
Oh, he's a Spaniard, out of one. He's a Spaniard. I already checked.
Nah, but for argument's sake, Barack, let's just say he's a Mexican, right? He's taking a Mexican because Mexican's a nationality. It's not a race, right? But for argument's sake, he took a Mexican, implanted him there into Mexico, and has him corrupting Mexico. And before they got that Spaniard in there as a president, there was an actual Mexican as a president that got removed, that got, because he didn't do what America told him to do. You know what I mean? So that's the reality of it, man. They only can win when we turn against one another. When we're not united in brotherhood and sisterhood, that's when these other nations come in and win. That's the whole point. That's the whole point of the Bible. The whole point of the Bible is for black and brown unity. That's what all the stories are. All the stories that happen in there, all the slaveries that Israel went through, all the oppression, the death and destruction, is what happens when you're not on one accord and you're not united as one, as a nation. That's the whole point.
Right.
It's not that deep, man. It's not that deep for a lot of y'all. Y'all, I don't know what is it that y'all looking for out there, man. Y'all want to go put some ash on your forehead and say I'm in a cult. Meanwhile, all I'm trying to do is love and forgive my brother. But go ahead, keep going.
Khan. It says, according to the declassified documents published by the U.S. National Archives, U.S. intelligence official Bill Sturbridge reportedly informed his colleagues during a meeting that Mexico will soon have a new president, a man who has had control of liaison for a number of years.
Good night. He's just a double agent.
He's a double agent, man.
You know, like, yeah, you're gonna be the head of Mexico. You know, they're gonna take care of the country. In the meantime, you're gonna help destroy the country even further than it's already destroyed.
So, that also shows how they do counsel against us.
Right, that's
that
counsel. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Good night. Yeah, you can keep reading, Hawk.
Khan. Lopez Portillo, who ran for office earlier that year as the sole candidate from the Institutional Revolutionary Party, which had ruled Mexico for over 7 decades from 1929 to 2000, passed away in 2004 at the age of 83. The revelation from the declassified documents raises questions about the alleged relationship between the U.S. intelligence community and Lopez Portillo's rise to power, shedding new light on the complexities of Mexican politics during that era.
Salakia, see, the Bible is a goddamn devil. There was no complexity in Mexican politics. You understand?
It was them the whole time.
You understand? It was just them. You understand?
The whole
And
time.
it was crazy that he went into office in like what, mid-70s to early 80s, when we had a major, like, a gold rush for cocaine. You understand? What a coincidence. Like, so what you're trying to say is that, because they're always trying to point the finger and shed some light on, oh, well, we had a problem with the Colombian cartel. They're bringing in all the drugs. But what about the drugs coming through Mexico? Like, in that time, like, he was in office.
Right.
You understand? They're not going to speak about that, though. And they're always trying to say, just like you say, well, Mexicans, they can't run their country. That's why, it's in poverty in the way it is right now. But it's not a Mexican running the country. It's like it's not a Salvadoran running the country. It's not a Dominican running the country. You understand? Colombia is not run by Colombians. It's easy to point the fingers at the people when the people are not in charge. You understand? Salah, the other one.
Nah, you too wild back. That's heavy you say that, because it's the proof, right? We're showing you why. And then this also goes for this is another one, right? This goes for Negro only Israelites who try to say that, oh, Mexicans aren't Israelites because they have their own country. This right here is proof that Mexicans do not have their own country. You have a foreign nation that runs Mexico. So no, Mexicans do not have their own country, just like Jamaicans don't have their own country, just like West Indians don't have their own country, just like the Haitians don't have their own country. The Dominicans do not have their own country. What the scriptures say, the children of Israel and the children of Judah would be oppressed together. You know what I mean? So black and brown are oppressed together, man. So y'all stuck on colorism and think, you know, phenotypes and E1B1 and, you know, hair texture and how you look is what makes you an Israelite. Well, this cuts your claim, you know, against
Right.
Mexicans. And let me say this, Bracchiale, let me side note, you know, real quick. When you try to say that Mexicans aren't Israelites because the way they treat Afro-Mexicans, let me stop you there. Mexicans do not respect indigenous people. You know what I mean? The government of Mexico does not recognize indigenous people. They won't even let them speak their indigenous languages.
Right.
So when y'all try to say that and use that against to denounce, you know, Mexicans of you know, the government does not even recognize indigenous people. So y'all need to, you know, just stop with the colorism and stop with the ignorance, man. Mexicans are, when I'm talking about Mexicans, I'm not talking about Spaniards, I'm not talking about Europeans, I'm not talking about Asians, Arabs, East Indians that are living in Mexico. I'm talking about the indigenous people of Mexico. I'm talking about, you know, Afro-Mexicans. Those are the children of Israel. You know what I mean? We only use the term Mexican today because a lot of us, right, that are of indigenous descent, not of European, do not have our identity. We have to call ourselves Mexican because we've been stripped of our identity and culture. Meanwhile, everyone else who's of a foreign nation, they have their identity. They can go back to you know, the foreign country they came from. But go ahead. You know, I just wanted to touch on that a little bit. Go ahead.
No, it's a like it. I mean, that's pretty much it. I don't want to mean, listen, you know, this is another reason why we show that, you know, time after time, like when we let these people in charge of our people, you understand? I mean, nothing good is gonna come out of it, right? I mean, you know,
right.
The way Mexico it is right now is because of the goddamn oppressor the Bible speaks of, the goddamn devil. You understand? The thing is that even after slavery, I mean, well, what has changed? It's just you know going worse and worse. Why? Because now we have infrastructures, we have cities, we have cars. It's not as bad as before. Listen, before we had somewhat of a sense of self where we were like, you know, we know who our enemy is. Nowadays, we love everybody. You understand? You know, you know, stop complaining about the condition that you're living in if you're not working for a better position. You understand? No matter how hard we're gonna be working, we're never gonna get to that position. That's the reality of it. Not because you see one rich Mexican, one rich nigga, you understand, in the industry, oh, we could all make it. That, you know, that's just a smoke screen. You understand? It's just to keep you asleep, talking about we all woke. Listen, y'all still dreaming about making millions and living in $1 million mansion, talking about, you know, the American dream. The American dream is just a dream. You understand?
It's our nightmare.
Yeah, right. It's our nightmare in the first place. But when it's a dream or a nightmare, at the end of the day, the state that you need to be in, right, is, you know, you're asleep to be able to have a dream or a nightmare. That's the point I'm trying to make. You understand? So ain't no such thing as being woke, whatever the case is, right? Y'all are just, you know, y'all are just asleep at this point, talking about I'm woke. Listen, I'm about to play a short clip because we're running short on time, you know. So WAP has a clip for us.
Yeah, I want to say that, you know what I'm saying, whenever you Christians come up to us, man, and y'all pull out John 3:16, this is you right here, man. Go ahead, officer.
Let's get it.
The water.
I know.
You heading north? Nah, man. I believe this is southeast. Well, how far behind you is they? Who? The dogs. I don't hear the dogs. Man, what dogs, man? Is there something I can help you with? Because I'm on my way home, and man, I am whipped. Oh, Lord, how many lashes they give you? Nah, man. I mean, I'm beat. Well, at least you still got your foot. Man, look, what is it that you want, man? I don't have any time for this. You must be one of them house niggas. Look, I'm just looking for my freedom. Freedom? Yes, sir. Well, where the hell you been, in the cave? Yes, sir, right back yonder. Oh, man, look, you must be from the South, man. Brothers up here don't act like that. Move. Excuse me.
Well, move it. You're blocking the way.
I'm sorry, sir. We just mosey out your way. Man, what the hell is the matter with you?
I'm trying to jog, and you're blocking my way.
Yeah, well, next time, run around, jackass.
What?
You crazy, man. You crazy. You don't be talking to no white man like that. They want...
That's heavy. That's a lie. That's heavy.
Man, I saw this. I started laughing, but it's sad, man.
It's sad because that's
really
right
sad, bro. Because that's
what you call it.
Man.
That's what you call a caricature, man.
Christians are the caricature.
Right.
Damn right, man.
They wrong. We're sorry, sir. We're sorry, sir. Don't mean to hurt you. He must got one of them that colored fever going around. Boys, now feel it too rough. Accept my apologies, please, sir.
Well, I'll accept yours.
Thank you.
But I don't like your friend's attitude.
You better change your attitude. Man, why did you do that? What you talking about? Didn't your pappy teach you nothing about survival? You don't talk to the white man like that. Them people want to be right even when they're wrong.
Salakia, let me say this real quick. That's how you Christians look out there trying to, be all up on vocab Malone. Salakia.
Yeah. So you can just leave it right there, man.
Salakia?
You can stop it right there, officer. That was heavy, man. Like when y'all Christians come up with John 3:16, man, that's what you look like, man.
Right.
Damn right. You know why? Because God loves everybody.
Right.
God so loved the world. You
That's
understand?
what it is, man.
It's good night. This is why Christians should just listen. If you're not in the ISUPK, just close the Bible. Stop. Just close that Bible.
Put it down.
Just do yourself a favor. Put it down. You understand?
Put it down.
Do yourself a favor. Talking about God loves everybody. This is what you look like when you tell about the God loves everybody. You understand?
Right.
When you're trying to say we need to fight, you understand, for our community, you understand, we need to build a military, you understand, we need to build an economy, you understand, but then y'all want to include everybody. This is what you look like. You think everybody's gonna fight for your community? You think you're gonna fight side by side with the enemy? Like who fights with the enemy and not against their enemy? Christians.
You got to let me tell you this, Barack Allen and Swap. Christianity is self-hatred. That Christian church teaches you to hate yourself. That's what it teaches.
Damn right,
you know what I mean? And until you realize that, you will continue to suffer.
Sad to say, but the truth hurts.
It hurts, right? What the scriptures say, that medicine is bittersweet, or what's it say? How's it paraphrasing it? Something about it's good like honey, but bitter in the stomach, or something like that. That's how the scriptures go.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
You know about that medicine, other ones,
right? But it worked. It healed me. So the truth is gonna, is gonna hurt. It's gonna be ugly. You know what I mean? But
I'm right. At
the end of the day, it frees you. And here's the thing: you got to see past yourself. You got to see past, you. You got to stop being selfish and learn to be selfless, because that's how all these other nations are with their own. They're selfless. We need to be selfless with our own. You know what I mean?
Damn right.
Damn right.
Hey, we're running for what? 2 hours now?
Yeah, we ran it for 2 hours tonight. Little smooth show. We started late on Mexican time, as always. But
hey, that's tribal Mexican time.
That's nigga time, bro. That's nigga time.
Yeah, so what said themselves.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? That's one accord, man.
Aren't Mexican niggas?
Right. Brown backwards is outward.
Good nice. You understand? But hey, we're about to close the show, Let's give out the outro. Let's start with Officer 500 Malakma.
I mean, y'all already know, carnales. Aquí estamos otra noche. ¿verdad? La pura neta, aquí estamos para despertar a nuestra raza, para que paren de seguir de todo esto del opresor, todos los tácticos que él usa contra nosotros para destruirnos. Aquí en la escuela israelita de conocimiento práctico universal te vamos a dar la herramienta para que puedas arreglar tus problemas y puedes a quitarte de ¿cómo se dice? Maldición que afecta a nuestra gente. Nosotros entre nosotros es como vamos a cambiar esto, ¿verdad? Y las otras naciones van a pagar el precio por todos los crímenes que ellos han hecho contra nosotros. Pero aquí es donde están las respuestas, raza. Here is the answer. Here is the solution, right? As I said in the promo video, raza issues, raza problems, raza solutions, man. That brotherhood and sisterhood is what's going to fix all this, man. But go ahead.
Right.
I'm going to pass it to the next canal, man. Go ahead, Brock.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it to Swab. You already know the best for last.
Oh, okay, Khan. Oh, shit, okay.
Khan. No, yo le iba a decir a ustedes, si ustedes están escuchando, que si tú eres cristiano ahora mismo y tú, el único precepto que ustedes se saben es Juan 3:16, entréganse la Biblia y métete con nosotros, que nosotros te vamos a entrenar como se debería. Ustedes no están perdidos totalmente. Ustedes suenan como esclavos viejos. Ese esclavo como el video que jugamos acá casi ahora. Se ven ridículos delante de nosotros. Porque tú nada más sale con el Juan 3:16, que amamos a todo el mundo, mientras el enemigo te está desbaratando en tu comunidad. ¿Tú me entiendes? Tú eres el que está en el barrio y el que está en las mansiones. Y él está cómodo ahí. Él sigue robando a tu gente. Tú le estás manteniendo la iglesia a ellos. Mientras esa iglesia nunca te da para la renta, nunca te están dando para ninguna ayuda. Solamente te quitan, no ponen nada, no reemplazan. Es un negocio que se está echando a perdida para tu comunidad. Y eso es todo lo que voy a decir, cristiano. Entrega la Biblia. Tú no sabes lo que dice. Ríndete, que tú estás perdido totalmente. Go ahead, officer.
Hey, but yeah, first off, I was going to say, hey, shout out to Mexico, Wada. Thank you to Wada. Gracias, hermano, for tuning in to La Pura Neta. We're here every Monday night, 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, you understand? Because me and Swab, we on the East Coast, you understand? But hey, they did it in Spanish. I'm going to do it in English and French, you understand? Hey, listen, the IHPK is the only safe haven for so-called Negroes, Latinos, and so-called Native American Indians on the face of the earth. You understand? If you want to go ahead and try, attempt, and fail to prove me wrong, well, go ahead. At the end of the day, like I said, you're gonna fail regardless. You know, you cannot show that the IHPK is wrong. Not even half than once. You understand?
Right.
You know, until then, and keep trying and keep failing, right? Le ISPK, l'école israélite de la connaissance universelle et pratique, nous sommes la seule place, le seul sanctuaire pour tous les soi-disant négros, latinos et amérindiens sur la face de la terre, que vous soyez dans les Amériques, nord, sud, centrale, que vous soyez dans les Caraïbes, que vous soyez en Europe, que vous soyez en Asie, peu importe où la nation d'Israël est, le ISPK va être là pour les aider, pour les nourrir, pour les habiller, pour les réveiller de toute manière possible. Vous comprenez? Alors, nous sommes là tous les lundis, vous comprenez, à 9h PM, heure du Pacifique, et à minuit, heure de l'Est, vous comprenez? Avec ça, Israël, je vous dis, l'homme blanc est le foutu diable dont parle la Bible. Blanc maintenant, c'est le diable. The white man is the goddamn devil the Bible speaks of. El hombre blanco es un pinche gusano que puta chinga su madre, el pinche diablo que hará la Biblia. Entonces, Israel, salam familia. Hasta la semana próxima.
Salaki, real quick, Anales. Let me say this, man. I've been saying it a few episodes back, but I'm gonna confirm it now because I'm just waiting, man. We got it on the way, man. We gonna have the call-in show real soon, man. So y'all can pretty soon we're gonna have that call-in number, and if y'all want to talk some smack, if y'all want to bring bring your questions, your comments, your support, your hate, whatever, you're gonna be able to call in. But just want to announce that.
Smoke.
You want the smoke?
Right. Smoke in here.
Hey, with that said, nunca olvides hasta la próxima. Shalom, Israel. El hombre en blanco es un pinche diablo. Shalom.
Así es.
Desgraciado.